This episode of Brains on Games is about a word game for cavemen. Welcome to Brains on Games. I'm Dr. Brian McDonald, and this episode, like I said earlier, we're going to talk about a word game that's designed for cavemen, and it's a game called Poetry for Neanderthals. This is a game that can be played by kids age 7 and up, plays in only about 15 minutes, and it's a party game, so you can play it with 2 teams, so you need only 2 or more players. Poetry for Neanderthals is a game that was created by the same folks who made Exploding Kittens and Throw Burrito and From 1 to T-Rex. So this is a really silly game with artwork by Matthew Inman from The Oatmeal. I've been a fan of Matthew's for ages, especially since I found out that he's a long-distance runner. He draws some cartoons about running that I quite enjoy. This game, Poetry for Neanderthals, is all about word guessing. There's no board for this game, really. There's just a couple of slates where the teams keep track of their points. You've got Team Glad and Team Mad are the names of the teams, and you're encouraging your teammates to guess a word. You get 1 point if you get the word up here on the top. You get 3 points if you get the word down here at the bottom, and that's where you're stacking your cards to show how many points you've gotten. You've got a sand timer here that counts down for 90 seconds. So you're trying to get your team to guess as many words as possible within 90 seconds. The trick here is that this is meant to be a game for Neanderthals, which means your clues can only have 1 syllable. So I don't know if you remember trap words a while back. We did a video about a game called Trap Words where there were certain words that the clue giver was not allowed to say. In this case, any word with more than 1 syllable is out of bounds and you're not allowed to say it. This is way more complicated than you think it's going to be because it's really hard not to say something like into or also or any of those 2-syllable words. And you really have to think about words in a different way. You wouldn't think it would be so hugely demanding on your verbal reasoning and vocabulary skills, but it is a game that really is all about verbal reasoning and vocabulary. You're thinking about these words in such different ways in order to express your clues in the way someone with only a very basic understanding of English would express them. For refrigerator, you might say, thing makes food cold, as an example, but how are you going to get your teammates to guess refrigerator sale? That's so challenging. When you're giving the clues, if your teammate guesses the word at clue number 1, you can put that on your card and move on, or you can continue trying to get them to guess that second clue, the more complicated one, so that you can get 3 points. But it really is a challenge to figure out, are you going to take that chance? Because if they can't get that one within that short time limit, you're limiting all the other words you could be exposed to. It is possible to pick up a card with a word you don't know or you don't know how to give a clue for. In that case, you can pass, but then your other team is going to get the card for 1 point. So you're giving your opponents a chance when you pass on those cards. What happens if a player gives a clue with more than 1 syllable? That's what the no stick is for. An opponent is going to stand beside the clue giver and whack them with the no stick if they accidentally say a word with 2 syllables. And like I said, it's hard not to. So when we played the game, people were getting whacked left and right with the no stick. As you can see, this game is very silly. The game continues until everyone has had a chance to be the poet, or until each team has had the same number of turns as the poet, so you can vary the length of the game. If you're confused about how many syllables a word has, they've even got a link to a website that will count up the syllables for you. Hopefully everybody will be able to come to some kind of agreement on their own, but if they can't, there's a website to adjudicate that stuff. And once you've reached that end game condition, everybody counts up their points and maybe you play another game. I think we played this one 3 times the first night we tried it out. There's one extra thing that you get to do that just adds a bit of silliness and a bit of fun. And it's not something that gives you extra points, but the winning team chooses one of their poets to read a poem. Grok's words of love and sad are the cards that come in the box. And it's like a Mad Lib. So what happens is before you draw that words of love and sad card, you choose 3 of your favorite words that your team has guessed, and those are used to fill in the blanks on the poetry card. So you read your poem with as much feeling as you can, and if it's a really bad poem, you might get whacked with the no stick again. And that is poetry for Neanderthals in a nutshell. A very quick word guessing game all about verbal reasoning and vocabulary skills. And it's from the folks who made Exploding Kittens. So if that's a game that your family liked, this is one that they might like as well. If you have any questions or suggestions for me, as usual, you can find me at brian@brainsongames.ca. Brainsongames.ca is the website where previous episodes are posted, and future episodes will go up there too. Brains on Games is the Twitter handle and the Instagram feed and the Facebook page. And if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to be notified of future ones, you can head on over to YouTube and click that subscribe button. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you next time.